Chosen one, somebody close enough to touch, tried to sacrifice you for your own money, your own abundance, your own divine inheritance, and after all their scheming, plotting, and paying people to come against you, they still walked away empty-handed, while you're about to receive everything they tried to steal, multiplied back to you with interest, because that's what happens when fools declare war on heaven's anointed and think they can win. They never understood the source of your power. They assumed someone else had elevated you, that your success was the result of hidden alliances or secretive arrangements. They couldn't fathom that your blessing flows directly from divine source, that no human hand can block what the universe has decreed for your life. So they aimed their weapons at shadows, while the real source of your strength remained completely untouchable. The person orchestrating this spiritual assassination lives closer than you think. We're talking about someone in your immediate environment, possibly a neighbor, a co-worker, someone who shares your daily space. This proximity wasn't accidental. They positioned themselves strategically, like a spy embedded in enemy territory, gathering intelligence on your routines, your vulnerabilities, your moments of strength and weakness. Every conversation you had, every move you made, every blessing you received was catalogued and analyzed for potential exploitation. Remember that individual who suddenly appeared in your life, attempting to forge a friendship with unusual intensity. The one who seemed just a little too interested in your business, your connections, your financial situation. That person who copied your style, your choices, your very energy signature. This wasn't admiration, this was reconnaissance. They were studying your blueprint, trying to reverse engineer your formula for success so they could replicate it for themselves. The obsession began when they realized you possessed something they could never purchase, never steal, never replicate through their usual methods. While they had spent years building their facade through deception, you carried an authentic blessing that shone so brightly it exposed the darkness of their pretense. Their entire existence was built on borrowed energy, stolen ideas, and manufactured success. Then you walked into their sphere, radiating genuine power, and their house of cards began to tremble. When you rejected their advances, when you politely but firmly established boundaries, when you made it clear that friendship wasn't something you were interested in pursuing, that's when their true nature emerged. The mask slipped, the pretense crumbled. What you witnessed wasn't disappointment, it was rage. Rage that their carefully constructed plan had hit its first major obstacle. Rage that you couldn't be bought, influenced, or manipulated into their web of deception. Your refusal triggered something primal in them, something that revealed the mental instability they'd been hiding beneath a veneer of normalcy. Suddenly, their obsession with you intensified. If they couldn't access your blessing through friendship, they would find another way. If they couldn't sit at your table as an invited guest, they would attempt to steal your seat through force. The depth of their desperation becomes clearer when you understand their financial situation. This wasn't someone operating from abundance. This was someone drowning in their own lack, watching bills pile up while maintaining an expensive illusion. They had maxed out credit cards to keep up appearances, borrowed money from dangerous people to fund their lifestyle, and made promises they couldn't keep to maintain their reputation. Your presence in their vicinity became a daily reminder of everything they were failing to achieve through legitimate means. The divine protection surrounding your life became activated in ways you couldn't see. While they were plotting your downfall, the universe was orchestrating your elevation. While they were investing their limited resources in schemes and manipulation, you were being guided toward opportunities that would place you so far beyond their reach that their weapons couldn't even find their target. The Most High kept you busy with projects, relationships, and responsibilities that served as both blessing and shield. Think about the timing, chosen one. During the period when their attacks were most intense, weren't you completely absorbed in something significant? A major project, a relationship, a creative endeavor, a spiritual journey that demanded your complete attention. This wasn't a coincidence. This was a divine strategy. Your focus was deliberately redirected because your Creator knew that if you had been aware of what was happening in the shadows, your response would have been swift and devastating. The people they recruited to help execute their plan have now become their greatest liability. These hired accomplices were promised easy money for simple tasks, create drama in your life, spread rumors about your character, interfere with your opportunities, make you feel unsafe in your own space. The plan seemed foolproof: destabilize your peace, force you into a vulnerable position, then swoop in as your savior and protector. But divine protection doesn't yield to human manipulation. The mercenaries they hired quickly discovered they were dealing with someone untouchable. Every attempt to create chaos in your life bounced back like arrows shot at a steel wall. Every lie they spread about you was exposed before it could take root. Every trap they set somehow redirected their own footsteps back into the pit they had dug. The universe wasn't just protecting you, it was using their own weapons against them. Money that was promised hasn't been delivered. Expectations that were set haven't been met. The individuals who agreed to participate in this spiritual heist are beginning to realize they've been played. Worse yet, they're starting to see that the person who recruited them doesn't actually possess the resources or influence they claim to have. The house of cards is collapsing, and everyone involved is scrambling to distance themselves from the fallout. They owe debts they cannot pay to people who don't accept excuses. The hired help they brought into this scheme are demanding compensation for services rendered. But the orchestrator of this spiritual assassination attempt never had the resources to deliver on their promises. They borrowed against a future that was never going to materialize, sold a dream that was built on delusion, promised returns on an investment that was fundamentally bankrupt from the beginning. The irony is suffocating. While attempting to steal your abundance, they've plunged themselves deeper into poverty. While trying to access your connections, they've destroyed their own network. While scheming to take your position, they've lost the little ground they actually held. Their greed has become their guillotine, their envy has become their executioner, their jealousy has become their judge and jury. Meanwhile, your life has continued to flourish in ways that defy their comprehension. Every tactic they employ to derail your progress has somehow resulted in your acceleration. Every trap they set has become a stepping stone for your advancement. Every scheme designed to diminish your light has somehow caused it to shine brighter. This isn't luck. This is the universe demonstrating that what is meant for you cannot be diverted, delayed, or destroyed by human interference. The desperation in their camp is becoming palpable. They can see you thriving while they're drowning. They can witness your continued ascension while they're experiencing free fall. The contrast is so stark, so undeniable, that even their closest allies are beginning to question their judgment, their motives, their very sanity. What was supposed to be your destruction has become their exposure. Now comes the most revealing part of this spiritual drama. Chosen one. The surveillance they conducted on your life has backfired spectacularly. While they were watching your every move, the universe was documenting theirs. While they were recording your habits, divine justice was recording their crimes. The cameras they thought were hidden, the conversations they believed were private, the meetings they assumed were secret, all of it has been captured by forces beyond their understanding. The evidence of their conspiracy is overwhelming and undeniable. Text messages discussing payments for interference in your life, financial records showing money transferred for services designed to harm you, video footage of them coordinating attacks on your peace and prosperity. The web of evidence is so comprehensive that denial becomes impossible, escape becomes futile, and consequences become inevitable. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Chosen one. The divine realm has been using this entire experience as a test, not of your strength, but of theirs. This person was presented with an opportunity to choose light over darkness, cooperation over competition, blessing over theft. They could have approached you with genuine intent, could have asked for mentorship or guidance, could have sought to understand the principles that govern your success, rather than attempting to steal the fruits of your labor. The universe even sent them warning signs, dreams that showed them the futility of their path, circumstances that demonstrated your untouchable status, people who tried to advise them against pursuing this destructive course. But pride deafened their ears to wisdom, greed blinded their eyes to truth, and envy hardened their heart to reason. They chose to ignore every divine signal and press forward with their doomed mission. Instead, they chose the path of destruction, revealing the true content of their character. They failed the test spectacularly, and now they must face the consequences of that failure. But you, chosen one, passed your test with flying colors. You maintained your integrity under pressure. You trusted your intuition when it warned you about their energy. You protected your peace when they attempted to disturb it. You kept your standards high when they tried to lower them. The transformation happening within you during this trial has been remarkable. Each attack they launched made you stronger. Each scheme they devised increased your discernment. Each lie they told clarified your truth. Each attempt to steal your blessing multiplied your abundance. They thought they were weakening you, but they were actually forging you into an unbreakable weapon of divine purpose. The universe is now moving into the vindication phase of this cosmic drama. Everything they attempted to steal from you is about to be multiplied in your hands. Every blessing they try to intercept is about to flow to you with supernatural acceleration. Every door they attempted to close is about to swing wide open, revealing opportunities so magnificent that their limited vision couldn't have even imagined them. Your financial abundance is about to increase beyond their wildest calculations. The inheritance they tried to position themselves to receive is about to manifest in your life with overwhelming magnitude. The connections they attempted to sabotage are about to multiply exponentially, bringing you into a relationship with people whose power and influence dwarf anything in their small circle. The recognition they craved is about to shine on you so brightly that their darkness becomes more obvious by comparison. Their current state is one of complete spiritual bankruptcy. They've exhausted their resources, burned their bridges, and destroyed their reputation in pursuit of something that was never within their reach. They're experiencing the dark night of the soul that comes when someone attempts to build their empire on someone else's foundation. The weight of their choices is crushing them, and there's no external force that can lift that burden, only genuine repentance and a complete change of direction. Watch how they move now, chosen one. Notice the fear in their energy when your paths cross. See how they avoid direct contact, how they seem to shrink in your presence, how they've lost the boldness they once displayed when they thought you were unaware of their schemes. They know the game is over. They know their cover has been blown. They know that continuing to pursue this path will only accelerate their downfall. The people in your community are beginning to see the truth as well. The contrast between your energy and theirs has become so pronounced that neutrality is no longer possible. People are choosing sides, and the overwhelming majority are aligning themselves with your light rather than their darkness. Their isolation is increasing daily as more individuals recognize the toxic nature of their intentions and the futility of their mission. Former allies are distancing themselves from the conspiracy. People who once supported their cause are now publicly denouncing their methods. The network they built to attack you has turned into a web that's strangling their own opportunities. Bridges they burned while pursuing you cannot be rebuilt. Relationships they sacrificed for this obsession cannot be restored. The cost of their hatred has become higher than any reward they could have imagined. But this story isn't ultimately about their destruction, it's about your liberation. You're being freed from the weight of wondering why certain people felt hostile toward your presence. You're being released from the burden of trying to understand why some individuals seem determined to undermine your peace. You're being given clarity about the spiritual warfare that's been raging around your life so you can step more confidently into your destiny. Look, you already know the game is rigged, and if you're paying attention, you know the walls are closing in. So let's talk about what we're doing about it. When you live by the day at the market's command, where profit and property rule the land. To be heard, to be held, to be dealt a fair hand. These are the things that a people demand, and we hear you. The Obsidian Inner Order has paywalls, yes. Those who stand with us, who fuel this mission, they give us ammunition to fight the Archons, to push back against the machine, to go deeper, to uncover more, and as our thank you, paid members get access to a 1-hour live, personalized weekly group tarot reading guidance, insight and clarity for the road ahead. But kicking a man for being down on the floor, that's something we cannot ignore. That's why starting today, you can steal the Astral Atom exclusive daily newsletter for free. No paywall, no catch. Just join the Patreon free tier link in the description. This is the start of our conversation with you, and it's bi-directional. You can reply to any email we send you. We'll read it, we'll hear you, and we'll do our best to get an answer to you from the universe itself. If you can support, we need you. If you can't, take what's free. The Obsidian Inner Order is open. Now let's get back to work. The lessons embedded in this experience are transforming you into a more discerning, more powerful, more untouchable version of yourself. You're learning to trust your initial impressions of people's energy. You're developing the courage to enforce boundaries immediately, rather than giving benefit of doubt to those who don't deserve it. You're understanding that not everyone who approaches you with friendship has your best interests at heart. Most importantly, you're realizing that your blessing doesn't depend on anyone else's approval, participation, or permission. The source of your abundance is so far beyond human manipulation that attempts to interfere with it only serve to expose the foolishness of the interferer. You're learning to operate from a place of divine confidence rather than human insecurity. The financial abundance they tried to steal from you is about to manifest in ways that will astound even you. The connections they attempted to sabotage are about to multiply exponentially. The opportunities they tried to block are about to flood your life with such intensity that you'll need divine wisdom just to manage them all. Everything they coveted is about to become yours in measure so abundant that sharing becomes your primary challenge. Their punishment is watching your elevation from the pit they dug for themselves. Their consequence is witnessing your success while experiencing their own failure. Their judgment is knowing that they had access to blessing through legitimate means, but chose theft instead. They're learning that the universe doesn't reward schemes with success, that divine favor cannot be hijacked, that what belongs to the chosen ones stays with the chosen ones. The cosmic justice being served is poetic in its precision. They wanted your money, now they're filing for bankruptcy. They wanted your connections, now they're completely isolated. They wanted your reputation, now their name is synonymous with deception. They wanted your peace, now they can't sleep at night. They wanted your joy, now depression follows them like a shadow. Every blessing they tried to steal has been removed from their own life with interest. The financial schemes they orchestrated have created a domino effect of destruction in their own life. Credit cards that were maxed out to fund their attacks on you now demand payment they cannot provide. Loans taken out to pay their accomplices are now in default. The people they borrowed money from to maintain their facade while targeting you are now demanding immediate repayment with interest that compounds daily. The very resources they spent trying to steal from you have left them more destitute than ever before, but the monetary loss pales in comparison to the social devastation they've experienced. Friends who once respected them now whisper about their strange obsession with destroying someone who never did anything to harm them. Family members who once sought their advice now question their judgment and sanity. Professional contacts who once valued their input now wonder if they can trust someone capable of such elaborate deception and manipulation. The reputation they spent years building has crumbled faster than a house built on sand during a hurricane. People who once invited them to social gatherings now conveniently forget to include them in plans. Business opportunities that once flowed their way have dried up as word spreads about their unstable behavior. The social capital they accumulated over decades has been squandered in months of pursuing a vendetta against someone whose only crime was existing in divine favor. Meanwhile, chosen one, your life has been expanding in ways that mock their failed attempts at sabotage. The opportunities they tried to block have multiplied exponentially. The connections they attempted to sever have strengthened into unbreakable bonds. The abundance they hope to redirect toward themselves has increased in your life to levels that defy natural explanation. Every arrow they shot at your blessing has ricocheted back to pierce their own prosperity. The inheritance they knew was coming your way, the very thing that drove them to such desperate measures, is manifesting even sooner than expected and in greater measure than anyone predicted. Money is flowing to you from sources they didn't even know existed. Investments you made while they were scheming against you are paying dividends that dwarf their wildest calculations. Property values you hold are skyrocketing while theirs plummet. The universe is demonstrating in real time that favor cannot be stolen, blessings cannot be hijacked, and chosen ones cannot be defeated by ordinary people with extraordinary jealousy. Their children have become unwitting witnesses to their parents' descent into madness. These innocent souls, who once looked up to them with admiration, now see the truth behind the mask. The same person who taught them about right and wrong has been revealed as someone willing to pay others to cause harm to a neighbor who never bothered anyone. The cognitive dissonance is destroying the family structure from within, as truth has a way of exposing everything it touches. The hired accomplices who were supposed to be their secret weapon have become their greatest liability. These mercenaries, frustrated by unpaid promises and failed missions, are now singing like canaries to anyone who will listen. They're revealing details about the conspiracy that even you weren't aware of. Phone calls where payments were discussed, meetings where strategies were planned, messages where your daily routine was analyzed for vulnerabilities. The very people they trusted to destroy you have become the instruments of their own exposure. Law enforcement has become quietly interested in their activities. While you've chosen not to press charges, demonstrating the grace they never deserved, others have noticed the pattern of harassment and intimidation. Neighbors have filed complaints about suspicious activities. Business associates have reported concerns about their increasingly erratic behavior. The net is closing, and they know it. The spiritual warfare they initiated has awakened forces they never understood. While attacking you, they drew the attention of divine justice that operates on levels beyond human comprehension. Angels assigned to your protection have marked them as enemies of heaven's agenda. Spiritual warriors who guard chosen ones have added their name to watch lists that span realms they cannot see. They declared war on heaven itself when they targeted you, and heaven always wins. Their mental health is deteriorating rapidly under the weight of their choices. Depression has moved in like a permanent resident, setting up furniture in their consciousness that cannot be moved through human effort alone. Anxiety attacks come in waves that leave them gasping for breath and clarity that never arrives. Paranoia has become their constant companion, whispering fears that may actually be prophecies of consequences yet to unfold. The irony of their situation becomes more apparent each day. They wanted to live your life so badly that they've forgotten how to live their own. They studied your routine so intensively that they lost track of their own purpose. They invested so much energy in destroying your blessing that they neglected the small blessings they actually possessed. Now they have neither your life nor their own. They exist in a liminal space of bitter regret and unfulfilled envy. But perhaps the most devastating aspect of their downfall is the realization of what they could have had. The universe had positioned them in your proximity, not as an enemy, but as a potential ally. They could have been the friend who celebrated your victories instead of the fool who tried to steal them. They could have been the neighbor who borrowed your wisdom instead of the snake who tried to borrow your blessing. They could have been the success story who learned from your example instead of the cautionary tale who serves as a warning to others. The business opportunities that would have naturally flowed to them through association with your rising star have now passed them by forever. The connections you would have gladly shared with a genuine friend have been permanently closed to them. The mentorship you would have provided to someone who approached you with respect has become impossible because of the bridge they burned with their greed and deception. Their family name, once respected in the community, now carries the stench of their choices. Children who share their bloodline will have to work twice as hard to overcome the reputation their decisions have created. Spouses who trusted their judgment now question everything they thought they knew about their partner's character. Parents who raised them to be better than this are experiencing shame that cuts deeper than any sword. The professional consequences are expanding like ripples in a pond. Colleagues who once collaborated with them now distance themselves to protect their own reputations. Clients who once trusted them with important projects now wonder if someone capable of such elaborate personal deception can be trusted with business matters. The career they built over years is crumbling under the weight of character revelations that cannot be hidden or explained away. Yet through all of this cosmic justice unfolding, chosen one, your heart remains free from the burden of revenge because you understand something they never could. Divine justice is far more precise and devastating than anything human vengeance could ever accomplish. You don't need to plot their downfall because their own choices have already sealed their fate. You don't need to expose their schemes because truth has a way of exposing itself when the time is right. The peace that fills your spirit during this vindication phase is evidence of your true spiritual maturity. While they're consumed with rage, regret, and fear, you're walking in supernatural tranquility that comes from knowing you're protected by forces beyond human understanding. While they're losing sleep over their failed plans, you're resting in the confidence that comes from trusting divine timing and divine justice. The abundance flowing into your life during this period isn't just financial, it's multidimensional. Relationships that honor your worth are manifesting with increasing frequency. Opportunities that align with your purpose are presenting themselves with perfect timing. Wisdom that protects you from future attacks is being downloaded into your consciousness with supernatural clarity. You're not just being blessed, you're being armed for the next level of your destiny. As this chapter of your life closes, chosen one, you're entering a new season where recognition of your true identity becomes unavoidable. The attacks you survived have only served to prove your resilience. The schemes you overcame have only demonstrated your protection. The jealousy you endured has only confirmed your anointing. You're not just surviving spiritual warfare, you're thriving because of it. The person who tried to sacrifice you for your own money has taught you one of life's most valuable lessons. Not everyone who wants to be close to you deserves access to you. Not everyone who claims to support you actually wants to see you succeed. Not everyone who appears friendly has friendly intentions. These revelations, though painful, have transformed you into someone who can navigate future relationships with unprecedented wisdom. The chapter ends where it began, with you standing in your truth, walking in your purpose, and receiving your blessing. But now you understand the full scope of what you've overcome. Now you recognize the magnitude of the protection that surrounds your life. Now you comprehend the depth of the love that the universe has for your destiny. The mirror doesn't lie, chosen one, and what it reflects now is someone who has been tested by fire and emerged as pure gold. The person who tried to sacrifice you for money got nothing, but you gained everything: wisdom, strength, clarity, and an unshakable confidence in your divine identity. And that, beloved, is how chosen ones always win.